I never paid much attention to the bulletin board at the entrance of my apartment building. It was always a cluttered mess of takeout menus, noise complaints, and faded flyers for lost pets. But this one was different. It was a missing person poster. The paper was crisp, stark white against the corkboard's dingy brown. The photo was of a young woman named Clara, with wide, dark eyes and a faint, almost sad smile. The text below her picture was simple: "Have you seen me? Last seen May 14th, that was 3 days ago." I felt a pang of sympathy, a fleeting sense of unease that cities so often instill in you. I went up to my apartment, made dinner, and forgot all about it. The next morning, as I left for work, I glanced at the board again. The poster was still there, but something had changed. Clara's faint smile seemed a little wider, almost a smirk. I blinked, rubbing my eyes. It must be the morning light, I told myself, a trick of the shadows. I shook my head and hurried off to catch my train. That evening, the change was undeniable. The smile was gone. Clara's lips were now pressed into a thin, tight line. Her eyes, which had seemed sad before, now looked scared. A cold knot formed in my stomach. Was I losing my mind? Maybe someone was playing a sick joke, replacing the poster every day. I took out my phone and snapped a quick picture, just to prove I wasn't crazy. The following day, I checked the board with a sense of dread. The poster had changed again. This time, Clara's mouth was slightly open, as if in a silent scream. A dark smudge had appeared on her cheek, like a bruise. It was the same poster, the same thumbtack holes, the same slight crease on the bottom right corner. But her face was different. It was impossible. I started taking detours to avoid the lobby. I'd use the back stairs, my keys jangling loudly in the empty stairwell, my breath held tight in my chest. But the curiosity was like an itch I couldn't scratch. After 2 days of avoidance, I had to look. I crept down to the lobby late at night, the only light coming from the street lamp outside. The poster was still there, and it was worse, much worse. Clara's face was now gaunt and pale. The bruise on her cheek was darker, and there was another one forming on her forehead. Her hair, once neat, was now disheveled and matted. But it was her eyes that truly terrified me. They were wide with an unspeakable horror, and they were staring directly at me. It felt like she was looking right through the paper, right into my soul, begging for help. A new line of text had appeared at the bottom of the poster, scrawled in what looked like shaky, desperate handwriting. It wasn't printed, it looked like it had been scratched into the paper itself. It read, "He's watching." I stumbled back, my breath catching in my throat. I ran up to my apartment and locked the door, triple-checking the deadbolt. I didn't sleep that night. Every creak of the old building, every distant siren, made me jump. Who was watching? Me? Her? I felt like I was being drawn into her nightmare. The next day, I couldn't stay away. It was like being tied to it by an invisible string. I went down to the lobby, my phone ready to call the police, though I had no idea what I would even tell them. The poster, Clara's face was barely recognizable. One of her eyes was swollen shut, her lip was split. Tears seemed to stain the paper beneath her eyes. The scrawled message had changed. Now it said, "He knows you're looking." That's when I saw him. A man I'd never seen before was standing at the end of the hall, by the mailboxes, pretending to sort through his mail. He was tall and thin, with greasy hair and a pale, blank face. He wasn't looking at me, but I could feel his gaze. He was the one. I knew it in my gut. He was the one watching. He was the he from the poster. I backed away slowly, never taking my eyes off him. I got into the elevator, my hand shaking so badly I could barely press the button for my floor. As the door slid shut, he finally looked up from his mail. He smiled. It was a cold, predatory smile, and it sent a wave of pure terror through me. I spent the rest of the day in a state of panic, peering through my peephole every few minutes. The hallway was always empty. Was I just paranoid? Was the stress getting to me? Around midnight, I decided I had to do something. I was going to tear down that cursed poster. I didn't care who saw me. I crept downstairs again. The lobby was empty and silent. I walked over to the bulletin board, my heart pounding. The poster was there, but Clara was gone. The photo was now just an empty, white square. The printed text, "Have you seen me?" was still there. But below it, the scrawled handwriting had a final, horrifying message. Now he's seen you. A floorboard creaked behind me. I froze, a cold sweat breaking out across my entire body. I didn't dare turn around. I could feel a presence, a cold spot in the air right behind my neck. I could hear the soft, shallow sound of someone else's breathing. And then, a low voice, barely a whisper, right next to my ear. Have you seen me? I never went back to my apartment. I left everything behind. I ran out into the night and didn't stop running for a very, very long time. Sometimes, when I walk past a bulletin board on the street, my blood runs cold. I see a flyer for a community bake sale or a lost cat, and for a split second, I see her face. I see Clara's eyes, wide with terror. A few weeks ago, in a new city, a new neighborhood, I saw a familiar piece of paper tacked to a telephone pole. It was a missing poster, my missing poster. The photo was the one from my old driver's license. But my face wasn't smiling, my eyes were wide with horror. And underneath my picture, in shaky, desperate handwriting, was a single, terrifying question. Have you seen me?